In our faith lead, Pope Leo just named a one-time undocumented immigrant who was smuggled into the United States in the trunk of a car as the brand new Bishop of West Virginia. Bishop Evelio Mejavar Ayala, originally from El Salvador, became a U.S. citizen in 2006. He has publicly called for Catholics to speak out against President Trump's treatment and policy toward immigrants. My panel joins me now. Terry Schilling, welcome to the League. Good to have you. Is the Pope sending a message here, and what is it?
No, look, I think there's something very beautiful happening in the Catholic Church, especially in West Virginia. The church is growing. We have a numerous number of converts entering the church. But I think what's hard for most Americans to understand about the Catholic Church is that it's timeless. We have outlasted empire after empire, especially the ones that persecute us. And it's easy to look at everything the church does in a political lens, but that's just not what's happening here. And I do think that Democrats are trying to create a wedge in the Catholic Church. They see this resurgence happening. But the reality is, I think, is that Catholics know who our friends are. They know, they saw what happened under Biden with the weaponization of government. They saw what happened in those Senate hearings with Kamala Harris questioning about the Knights of Columbus. They know who their friends are, and they know who their enemies are, and I don't think this is going to work. I don't think the Catholics are going to ditch the Republican Party or Trump for the Democrats over deporting illegal immigrants or MS-13 members. They're going to be much more fired up about all of the other stuff that the Democrats do.
May I assume that you're also Catholic? Is that?
I am Catholic.
Okay.
I am very Catholic, a practicing Catholic, and I will say that the Pope is very much sending a message. If you think about what bishops are, they're kind of like a cabinet for the Pope. That's why when a new Pope comes in, you're seeing all these changes happening, right? In New York, the old comes out and new people come in. And by moving someone like this to a very white state, he is indeed sending a message. I think, first of all, the message is of universality, right? That it doesn't matter your skin color, it doesn't matter your story, that, you know, the church embraces all of that. But the second thing I think the Pope has been very clear on is that immigration is an issue that the Catholic Church feels very strongly about. It is part of their canon. And that is not a left or right issue. You are right. That is a Catholic Church issue.
Started with Jesus, right?
It started with Jesus. And the Catholic Church and Catholic charities have always been involved on immigration. I'm a longtime immigration reporter. You go to the border there. The people that are actually dealing with migrants are often Catholics, nuns and priests, etc. So this is part of, I think, a refocus that he is doing in the church to move away from issues like abortion into issues more like immigration. You can look at that in a political lens, or you can say, this is just the Pope being the Pope and maybe moving the church in a different direction.
And we should just note, Terry, jump in there, but the immigration issue is not just an issue here. It's a huge issue all over the world, but especially in Europe as well.
Well, I just got to say that, Pope Francis, his message has actually been to both sides.
For Pope Leo?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We just changed it. We just had our 8th kid, so a little bit foggy in the...
That's Catholic.
That is Catholic.
But a Jew just corrected you on the name of the Pope.
That's
anyway,
right.
Keep going.
So Pope Leo just last week or the week before was talking directly to the immigrants and was very clear that nations do have the right to secure their border and establish the rules around immigration. He told the immigrants that are coming here illegally to stop doing that and to focus on rebuilding their own country. So I get it, but he is timeless. I don't think he's playing politics here, and I think the Catholic Church is really beautiful. I think we're seeing this resurgence and return to the beauty of the church. And by the way, happy Feast of St. Joseph the Worker today. It's a wonderful day.
So just to keep talking about the Pope thing, because this is so interesting, one of the things, again, I'm not Catholic, but I grew up in Philly, big Catholic community
big
there.
Catholic.
I'm well aware of a lot of the teachings. And when there was tension between Pope Leo and President Trump about war in Iran, I thought, this is what popes do. They oppose war. That's what I understand there's the whole just war thing, but ever since I've been alive, popes have been for life in from the moment of conception to opposing war, to opposing capital punishment, to wanting people to live as long as they possibly can. It always just seemed, in terms of the universality that you're talking about.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And that's why sometimes that falls on the left of the political spectrum and sometimes that falls on the right of the political spectrum. But what I do think about that is different about this Pope is, first of all, he's an American Pope and he understands the American context. Secondly, popes are political. They are religious figures.
Not Democrat, Republican.
No, Democrat,
but
Republican,
issues.
but
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah, yeah.
They embrace issues. They push forward on issues. And when you look at this Pope and what he is emphasizing, you can take some guidance as to his beliefs and where he wants to move the church. In the United States right now, there is a lot of energy around the Catholic Church. And actually, that energy is coming from the more conservative side of the Catholic Church. If you look at the priests, if you look at young members of the church, they are more conservative-minded than perhaps more progressive, if you want to use that sort of lens. That said, you know, this Pope has already talked about issues like LGBTQ rights. This Pope has already waded into some of the most controversial issues in the church. And so I do think that he is trying to reframe this in some way.
Well, to be clear, though, he's not, he's affirming the dignity of all human beings, regardless of their identities. But, you know, he's not wavering on the Catholic Church's teachings on the right to life starting from conception or protecting children from gender ideology and all of that going on. So he's not moderating. I think he's just emphasizing the issues that are coming up. And I do think that there's a lot of emphasis, more emphasis and coverage in the establishment with the more liberal stuff, and the conservative messages don't always get out.
All right. Well, thanks, one and all. Congratulations on the 8th kid.
Thank you. Thank you.